Welcome everyone to the flip side of crypto. Joining me as always, Tor Constantino. Hey Tor.
Hey Martynas, how are you?
Better than I deserve, Tor. In today's episode, we shall be talking about the flip side for July 28th. We have quite a few news topics today. The first one, which grabbed our eye, is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is again touching 40K. Tor, are you excited?
I think that, yes, in short, I am. I think that it's been overdue. I think the volume increases are an indicator as to a driver of this. I also think that the supply squeeze is finally coming to fruition now as well. A lot of coins you're seeing on some of these on-chain analytics that they're moving off of the exchanges, which means that people are hodling them, and that's going to increase the price because the supply is going down. I think that this is a good sign that we are still in a bear market in 2021.
Sure, and I'm actually curious, do you think we're out of the bear market, or we never were in the bear market?
I think that the best and most trusted analysts that I watch, they think that it was a mini bear market, if you will, similar to what happened in 2013, where there was a two-peak cycle, and if you go back and look at the charts there, in April it went to a certain level, and then it kind of dipped down, and then it had a blow-off top towards the end of the year. And a lot of the analysts that I'm watching, they're saying that they see something similar in the trends and indications.
I don't know, maybe the viewers back at home can tell us. Did you really think this was a bear market? Did everyone call you stupid for still believing, having diamond hands? Comment down below. Essentially, Tor, there's something I noticed. Ethereum volumes, they're just off the charts right now. They're actually surpassing Bitcoins. How do you feel about that?
It's not a surprise, to be candid with you. I think that there's been a lot of talk about the flippening, where the market cap volume of Ethereum may surpass Bitcoin. And if you look at the base case between those two assets, they're quite different. Bitcoin is becoming known as an excellent store of value. It's got a short supply, it's easy to share, it's easy to break down into fractional amounts, and I think that those elements make it an excellent option as opposed to gold. However, Bitcoin falls down a little bit from the other two aspects of money when you consider a unit of account and a method of exchange. And in all of those areas, the idea for Ethereum is it can do all of those things. And Ethereum is a bigger idea to begin with. It's more like a software platform and a development platform than just a micro, or rather a cryptocurrency. The smart contracts facilitate DeFi, NFTs, as well as crypto payments. So it's got a much larger and broader use case. And I think that, especially to the point now, from a timing perspective, the EIP 1559 is being implemented. That hard fork is coming. Ethereum 2.0 is on track. The network effect for Ethereum, it's got thousands of applications on its platform. All of those reasons are bolstering it and reinforcing its use case, not just now, but in the future. So I think that the smart money is getting in on Ethereum now, in short.
Well, the flip side to that, of course, is let's wait and see. Quite frankly, it's a good time to be in crypto in general. I wouldn't want to be a maxi on anything right now. And that's just my opinion after talking with the CEOs, constantly talking with the community, what's happening. I mean, to have one favorite project, it seems like it's not that time yet. And all of this picking and choosing sides at this moment, it just seems as if you're choosing your favorite football team or fantasy football team in that manner.
Right. I completely agree with you. I think that Bitcoin has one use case. I think Ethereum has another use case. I think ADA Cardano has a separate use case as well, even though that's always kind of labeled as the Ethereum killer. I think that if you look at how Cardano is being very systematically and very scientifically deployed, it makes a lot of sense. If you look at Ethereum, they've kind of want to break things and implement things fast and get them out and then fix them later. ADA is taking a much more methodical approach. Each stage of its rollout before it's submitted goes through a peer review process where its publications are being generated and they're being reviewed by a much broader consortium of thinkers. So they're taking a very systematic approach. I completely agree with you. The crypto space is broad enough to have multiple players, multiple assets that can win.
Absolutely. And just a flip side on ADA, one of the best projects out there, but come on. There are a lot of dreams, a lot of hype. The community is feverishly defending it. That's great, but guys, let's implement something. Let's have the smart contracts. Let's actually have all of this real adoption, right? And then let's pop the champagne then.
That's right. One of the best quotes that I heard from last week was a commentator. I can't remember his name. He said, "Listen, you can train for a marathon all the time, but the only one that's going to win it is that's running the race." And right now, Ethereum is running the race, and Cardano's training.
And Polkadot is also gaining on its heels and actually producing quite a bit. Actually, interesting to see their rivalry going along. But on to the next topic. CBDCs. What's your opinion on CBDCs, Tor?
Not good. Not good. I mean, in my opinion, I think that I think that central bank digital coins pose a problem fundamentally at the ethos and the philosophy of cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies were formed to democratize and extend financial applications and banking to everyday individuals and provide them an option from fiats and government control. CBDCs, central bank digital coins, want to stop and choke that. That's the only reason why. If you look at like a central bank digital coin being issued, what the central banks will then be able to do, they will have completely unlimited control at production of money, number one. And the next thing that they'll be able to do is to track every spend that anybody executes. And here's the other thing. They can shut down and deny transactions that they don't think fit with whatever particular political option. So in my opinion, I think it opens the door for much more abuse, even more so than current fiat currencies. Current fiat can't necessarily be tracked. I mean, I know it's got serial numbers, but it's very clunky, and the government can't say that a dollar with this serial number on it can't be used. But that will be the case under CBDCs. They will be able to shut those down at the point of sale and say, "Whoop, you want to make a contribution to this political fund or this cause?" They could say, "Nope, not going to happen." That's the thing that concerns me about CBDCs. And this is the other thing, the hypocrisy of it. They want to slam private cryptocurrencies such as the big boys, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of those. But they say, "Oh, ours can do it better and you need to trust us." They have an axe to grind against stable coins as well. And I think that's a problem.
Yeah, beautifully said. I mean, just for the viewers at home. So Elizabeth Warren basically sent a letter to Janet Yellen, the great yeller of our generation, and she's demanding, again, stricter regulations on the crypto space, saying that the space in itself would be volatile and that the volatility which the crypto space has could be transferred over to the general financial market, as they are, kind of in this symbiotic relationship. And the more crypto grows, the more its influence grows on the financial market itself. In a way, yes, but are we gonna act? Is she seriously suggesting that the current financial market, the way it's operating right now, is operating in the best interests of the consumer? I mean, only if it was a perfect system, then I could see this claim making any sense whatsoever. Am I out of the loop here, Tor? Or?
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Cryptocurrencies are a way to fix some of these problems. She said, Janet Yellen said that stable coins are a systemic risk to the current monetary policy. It's ludicrous. The real risk is just what you pointed. It's the unmitigated printing of funds and fiat currencies at central banks where they give the authorizations, number one. It's predatory lending by banking institutions, number two. It's quantitative easing by these federal governments that are saying that are driving interest rate down to less than zero. That's what's been upsetting and causing all of this turmoil. Cryptocurrencies didn't cause this. They're part of the solution to fix it. And it's any other posture is ridiculous, and it falls flat on its face, and it really undermines the credibility of individuals that say such.
Absolutely. And just a flip side to that, I mean, come on. Governments and crypto are just destined to be at odds with each other, right? So it's the immovable object versus the unstoppable force at this moment. And unfortunately, I see the only losers being the consumer right now. And quite frankly, hopefully the situation reverses itself quickly, but realistically, it won't. But on to actual implementation news. So Ripple is launching an on-demand liquidity platform, an ODL, in Japan. It's quite a good development, right? It might seem that Ripple is doing well, but again, as fate would have it, our viewers at home who watch Ripple closely, they might see Ripple as the best soap opera in town, because at the exact same time, Swift is now trying to enter on Ripple's territory. Could you expand on that, Tor?
I think it kind of harkens back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier in our conversation. It's not necessarily a zero-sum game. There can be winners across the board, and competition can be a good thing. And that was one of the criticisms against fiat currencies, was the monopoly that the government had on production of money and distribution of money. In this particular instance, competition is good, I think, for the end user and the consumer. So being able to make those choices are great. Ripple has a first mover advantage in this particular space. And if Swift is able to come along with a better option, well, then that will motivate Ripple to make improvements and upgrades to its own system. That's not a bad thing, in my opinion. The other point about it is that I think that what Ripple's doing with this particular service, just to be clear to the viewers, is there's a high population of Filipinos within Japan, and a lot of them send money. They work in Japan and they send money back to their families. That's a good thing, and that's very common for populations that are dispersed in diasporas around the world. A lot of workers send money back to their families. And in this particular instance, the transfer of funds normally without this Ripple application are twice as high as in other developed countries, from an article that I read. So what this is doing is, again, this is benefiting the individual. It's lowering transaction rates so that they can get money cheaper to their families. I think that's a great thing. And if Swift wants to come along and do a better job, well, then Ripple has to up its game. So to your point, this dynamic tension is what creates markets. And we all benefit from it, in my opinion.
All I can say is to Ripple hodlers out there, you cannot have the good without the bad, the yin and yang. It's one of those moments. Now, on to other news. Tor, are you hungry?
I'm always hungry. You know that. I didn't build this body by starving itself, okay?
Same here. Because the news is about Burger King. Yeah, actually, you'll be allowed to buy dog food with Dogecoin at Burger King. Could you elaborate? I cannot even.
I think I've lost my appetite a little bit, because I think there are clear delineations from a health inspector perspective or point of view as to why they typically don't offer food for your animals in the same establishments as food for humans. But I'll tell you what. It's a great marketing ploy by this. I think it's Brazil is where it's being launched. But the idea that you can bring your pooch along while you're getting a burger and feed them, and then pay for Dogecoin. Honestly, it's brilliant marketing, and I think when consumer brands build and deploy these types of tactics, I think it's great because it does build awareness. We're talking about it, and I think that that it kind of normalizes cryptocurrencies for a broader audience. So while the idea of a place that serves food for my dog at the same counter that serves me might not necessarily be all that appealing, I think the idea of being able to pay for your dog food via cryptocurrency, I think it's fine.
More adoption, the merrier.
From an investor perspective, though, or purchasing, I'm not a huge fan of Doge for a couple of reasons. My big one is lack of decentralization. The vast majority of coins in that particular project are held in 7 wallets, and one wallet owns 28% of it. That math doesn't work for me. And it's infinite supply. That doesn't work for me either. I know that it facilitates a lot of transactions and it's fast, and that can be good, but buyer beware. There are plenty of other projects and coins out there that have a better use case than Doge. But listen, like I said, and like we said, the more the merrier. And if it gets people into cryptocurrencies and doing their own research, that's awesome.
That's a flip side if I ever heard one. And for the viewers at home, would you actually sell your Doge or use it to buy dog food? I'm just curious. Comment down below, please. And in the last bit of news, NFT news, actually. And yeah, Coca Cola. We're continuing on the food route. So, Tor, take it away. What's Coca Cola doing?
Well, so from what I understand is that they're doing advertising now in Decentraland. And Decentraland is, if you're not aware, to me, it always reminds me of a book from 2011 called Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. It was made into a movie, but if you haven't read that book, it's really quite good. And it was really prophetic in where we're going in regards to the metaverse. And that's kind of what Decentraland is. It's this mobile, online, global, it's not mobile, but you can access it there, but it's online. And it's like a second world where people can have a persona, a presentation, and they can develop digital assets. And a lot of corporations are running in there now in land grab, buying up all kinds of property there. It's remarkable to see. And Coca-Cola is staking a claim there from an advertising perspective. I think that in the future with virtual reality, that's going to be much more normalized. You'll see more people spending time in that particular space, developing their personas. And the thing is it holds the potential, the metaverse, instead of having a channel on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, these would all be integrated into one persona. And that's kind of the real value. And however you want to design that entity or individual or self-expression to be, you could do that. Well, corporations are saying, we want to be in that space before, and we want to build it and shape it in our own image. So again, I think it's an exciting development, and Coke has always been very forward thinking in its marketing. And as we said earlier, I think consumer brands jumping on this bandwagon now only builds the interest and the acceptance of the broader NFT and cryptocurrency and blockchain technology.
Now, a flip side to that, of course, is, come on, let's be honest, what % of the population is actually taking part of it right now? Is it even 0.5%? Is it, it's a geeky development for geeky people like you and me, right? And it's, to call it mass adoption at this point, I would say it's exciting, it's happening, but let's not kid ourselves. This will be big in the upcoming years. People often underestimate just how long things take. Internet of Things. Klaus Schwab raised the fourth industrial revolution many years ago, and everyone thought, oh, that's it, my refrigerator will be able to tell me the time, drive my car, etc. No, that's not going to happen. Things take longer periods of time. AI. People thought that AI would be, you have these illustrations what 2020 would be. Where's my damn flying car, Tor? Where's my flying car?
I know. I think Elon Musk is working on it if he has his will, but you're absolutely right. the visionary ideals and the actual execution and adoption, there is a stretch, and there's that the product life cycles. The early innovators, early adopters are there, and then there's a steep curve, and then you've got laggards at the end. It takes years, and you're absolutely right. If we look at the internet for as a point of reference, I remember when the internet first started, there was this thing called the hamster dance. As dumb as that sounds, you could Google it, but it was a screen of these little icons that were doing a dance. It was the dumbest thing ever, but that was the big use case for the internet. No one knew how to monetize it. Google was years off in the future. It's but people would go at work and they had internet connectivity and watch hamster dance. It's crazy. It's stupid. I know. I'm an old guy. I can talk about it like that. But it took years before we had Facebook, Amazon, and the internet as we know it today.
Well, it's exciting development with Coca Cola entering the foray. It's a big name. And also Campbell, another big name, a traditional name, entering the foray. I don't know how I feel about that. It seems as if you're trying to be hip. You kind of want to, it's the, not to say old man, but it's the older gentleman who's trying to be with the kids, hip, and how do you feel about that?
I resemble that remark, so let's be careful about the stones you're throwing, my friend. No, I think you're right. It might make you scratch your head a little bit, but honestly, again, I think that this is another brilliant move from a stodgy old corporation. They're trying to reinvent themselves, and it's not just developing NFTs. It's actually part of a much broader integrated marketing campaign, which honestly I think is pretty smart, and it's very timely. They're capitalizing on the adoption of NFTs right now. They've changed the packaging on the soup cans, and you're like, oh my gosh, can anything be old manish than soup? And I love soup, brother. But at the end of the day, they're trying to appeal to a younger demographic, just like you said, and reintroduce their products to a segment of the market that might not think of Campbell soup as being something that they would want to try. But they're trying to enter the selection set of the consumer, and I think it's really smart from a rebrand perspective. They're trying to hit people where they are online, where this next level consumer is, and they're trying to appeal to them in this way. It could be forced and it might flop, but in my estimation, I think it's smart.
Absolutely. Now, Tor, as always, good to have you on the flip side. For the viewers at home, make sure to follow the news at dailycoin.com. If you didn't find any news stories, you'll definitely find it there. And make sure to like, share, and subscribe. See you next episode. Thank you, Tor. Thank you, everybody. See you next episode.